Hello friends, and welcome back to the Mothership. Today I'm going to show you how to smoke our very own Asian style 5-spice spare ribs. And we're going to do it on the Weber Kettle. Let's get started. Here are some spare ribs. Let's get them out of the cryovac and see what we're working with here. Pretty decent looking set of ribs. Not too much fat on here. I don't think I need to do too much trimming, honestly. I do always take the skirt off. This is all great riblet meat. Use that for something else. You obviously don't have to do this, but I don't like chewing around all these little pieces. It's not great. So I usually cut these down. I usually also take off some of the ribs on the end. Like this one's very small, this one's very small. I think we'll go to like right here. That seems about right. All of this is going to get saved, like I said. I have some ideas for leftover rib trimmings that I'm going to do, so I'm definitely going to save all this. These look pretty perfect to me. The only thing remaining is to get this pesky membrane off the back. Now this process is pretty simple, and once you've done a couple guys, I promise they get a lot easier. Make an incision with a knife, get your finger underneath there, like so. Sometimes you can get it in one go, but I think this one's going to be not helpful. Yeah, unfortunately not going to come off in one go. Sometimes when you can't really grab onto it, just use a piece of paper towel to get a hold of it and pull it right off. Now this rack of ribs, after my trimming, is about 2 1/4 pounds, which means that if I was going to just do my standard ½ teaspoon per pound, that would be a little bit over 1 teaspoon of salt. But since most of this, maybe not most, but a whole lot of this is in bone, you don't want to do the whole amount. So somewhere between ½ to 1 teaspoon would be ideal. Probably maybe about 3/4 teaspoon. So I am just going to get everything nice and coated down in salt. Focusing on the meat because the fat's not going to absorb as much. And you don't have to bother with the bone side because obviously the salt's not going to absorb in the bone. Just get it nice and coated down. Then I'm going to throw it into the fridge. And it's just going to sit there until all of this lovely salt has been absorbed. You might notice the color will change from a nice pink. It'll get a little bit more deeper red. But that's all good. We just want to get the salt into the meat before we put any other seasonings on. While we wait for the salt to get absorbed, it's probably a good time for us to go and get our grill going. It's a cold, rainy day here in New England, so it's going to take a little more effort than usual to get that sucker up and running. To get our grill up and running, I've got almost all of the SNS filled with charcoal. I've got just one corner open, filled with water, and then I put about 10 briquettes, lit them, got them nice and going. They've got some ash on the side, so all we're going to do is put our briquettes on the far side here. Now I'm just going to put the top on, let the temperature come up. I'm going to actually run the bottom temp at about 1/4 and the top probably about 1/2. It's a little chilly out, but I think that'll get me the low and slow temperature I'm looking for. So I'm going to shut the vents, like I said, 1/4 bottom, 1/2 open on top, and just try and get the temperature to that point where we want to put the meat on. For our Asian style 5-spice rub, we're going to start with some white sugar, cumin, paprika, chili powder, black pepper, and lastly, but most importantly, our Chinese 5-spice. We're going to get nice and mixed together, and this is what we're going to use to rub down our ribs. All of our salt has been absorbed into the meat, which does a couple of things. 1, it gets salt permeated through all of the meat. Every bite's going to be fantastic. 2, it also leaves more surface area for our rub, so it's not taken up by salt. And 3, it actually pulls out some moisture, which means we don't need a binder because this is going to be nice and moist enough. Now we're just going to take our 5-spice rub and just coat her down. This will be better with a shaker, guys. You don't really need to focus on the bone side for obvious reasons. There is some paprika in here, so I guess that would add some color, but not necessary. Just make sure everything's nice and coated down and get your sides, of course. Boom. And that looks pretty. Now you could put these back into your fridge, let them sit, let everything come together, or they could go directly onto the smoker. My Weber kettle is now up to temperature at 250 degrees, which means I'm going to put these directly on to the grill. I just tossed our ribs on. I'm going to let them just do their thing for a while, absorb as much smoke as they can, and to get that smoke, we need to put some wood chunks on. So, don't need to do too many, guys. A little bit goes a long way sometimes, so just kind of evenly space them out. That should be good. Close her up, let it smoke down, and then just monitor, make sure everything stays in the right temperature, stays where you want it to be, and that it doesn't run out of water. So, let her do her thing. We're about 3 hours into our cook, and our bark is definitely set. Definitely gotten as much smoke as it's probably going to take on. So what I'm going to do is just give it a little spritz when it's looking a little dry every once in a while. I'm just going to keep monitoring it every half an hour. Give it a spritz. I'm just using apple cider, the hard stuff, and then just monitoring my coals. We're getting close to this side, so I'm going to have to add some more so it can go back the other direction. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. It smells really good. I'm excited to eat this, guys. It's the hardest part about cooking, waiting for the food to be done. Alright guys, I will be honest, I just cut one of these in half because I could not believe the fact that this took me 9 hours to cook these. But here we are. These took 9 hours to get to completion. Temperatures on the grill were anywhere between 225 and 275 the entire time. But these are done. These are almost 9 hours ribs. This is one of those crazy cuts that just take a very long time. But these are ready to go. They look delicious. I'm so excited to just put them inside and bite into them and see how we're doing. Alrighty, dude. So this rack of ribs is on the kind of hell side. These suckers, I swear, I've cooked for almost 9 hours. And they just were not pulling apart the way that I wanted them to. But looking at them, I don't think they're overcooked. I think they just were one of those cooks where everything just really needed to take its time. So let me show you what we're working with here. These are our ribs. You can see there's a nice smoke ring in there. They look delicious. They smell incredible. That 5 spice is really gonna have a lot of flavor on here. And we are super, super hungry because, like I said, almost 9 hours of cooking, but they're ready to go. So let's give it the old-fashioned chomp. Guys, if you're looking for a dry rib, this style does not have what you think when you think American Asian food. That's super sweet and just kind of disgusting with the amount of disgusting stuff we throw into our American Chinese food. This is not super sweet. This has a lot of good flavors on it, but it has some of that Asian style flavor we're looking for. Those 5 spices really come out. It's really, really good. It smells really, really good. They have a really nice bark to them. It's like a nice meteorite, but the inside is actually not overcooked. Sometimes barbecue takes much longer than you think it's going to, but that's just the nature of the game. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know down below, what was the longest cook that you thought was going to take X amount of time and ended up going 3, 4, 5 hours longer? I'd be super curious to know. This one, like I said, 9 hours, what I thought would be about 6 hours. Let me know what your longest cook was that should have been much shorter. Most importantly, guys, cook something absolutely fantastic, and I will see you on the next barbecue. Bye-bye.